Okay, you saw the thumbnail, so let's not waste any time and show you how to create this simple stock portfolio tracker in Excel. The good news is it's really easy to create and there are no complicated formulas to write, so let's get into it. To begin, how about we take a quick overview of the final result so as we're building the portfolio tracker, you'll have a point of reference. Starting right here with this data table, we have the company name, the ticker symbol, and the current price per share, all of which have been provided by Excel, and this price will also update as the day changes. Next is the amount of shares we own, how much we paid per share, and then some other calculations that we will explain as we move forward. Up at the top, here we have this column chart that gives us a quick glance of how much each of our stock positions are worth. Next, we have a donut chart, and this shows a breakdown of the various industries that we've invested in. Then over here, we have this column graph, which at a quick glance shows us where we've made or lost money. Okay, so that should suffice as a high-level overview. It's time to build the portfolio. Starting with a brand new file, you want to click around cell B18. The reason for this is we want to have room above our data to place our column graph. Next, let's start out by typing the column headings we're going to use. So we'll start with the company name, then ticker, current stock price, the amount of shares we have, the purchase price, market value, tax basis, and our total return, and along with the industry type. From there, how about we apply some quick formatting to our cells? All right, so once that is complete, the next step is to enter the stocks that you own. To accomplish this, you basically have two methods you can use. You can either type in the company name or type in the stock symbol, and then have Excel get the financial information. For example, let's say you invest in Microsoft. You can type Microsoft into a cell, then go up and click on the Data tab, then look for where it says Stocks, and when you do, Excel will open this data selector where you'll be presented with a list of choices. From there, you can click on a company name to get more information and to verify it's the one you want. If it is the one you want, you can go down here and click on Select, and it will be added to your spreadsheet. The other option is to type in the ticker symbol directly. Then, click on Data, Stock, and basically from there, it's a rinse and repeat. As a side note, in case you're wondering, you can also add ETFs or exchange-traded funds, mutual funds, and even Bitcoin into Excel, and it will retrieve the financial data. Now, for the sake of time and convenience, before I recorded this, I went ahead and created a list of stocks that I'm going to paste in here just for our example. All right, so the next step is to display the ticker symbol, and we can do that by first clicking on the company name. In this case, it's Microsoft. Then, when this data icon pops up, click on it and then look for ticker symbol. After the ticker symbol has been added, we can just drag down and Excel will pull in the remaining ticker symbols for us. All right, so the next step is to bring in the stock price. We can do that by clicking on the company name again, then the data selector icon, and we want to look for price. All right, there we go. And we'll drag that down as well. And while we're here, why don't we change this format from an accounting to an official currency format, and we can do that right from the Home tab. Next, for the shares and purchase price, it's pretty straightforward because in real life, you just have to enter the data. For today, we'll type in some sample data. Okay, so that brings us to our first calculation, which is the market value. The market value is just how much that stock position is worth today. You can calculate it by taking the current stock price multiplied by the amount of shares we own. Okay, that's pretty easy, so let's drag that down. Next up is the tax basis, and let's take a moment to explain what that is. The tax basis can also be called the cost basis or basis, depending on your school of thought. In simple terms, it shows you how much you paid for the stock, and it will eventually get taken into consideration with taxes. So let's go ahead and calculate the tax basis. And just for fun, let's say it costs an additional $10 for each trade as well. We can type out equal, then open parentheses, click on the amount of shares that we own, multiply that by our cost, close the parentheses, and then add in $10 for the transaction fee, press enter, and from there, just copy the formula down. And the final calculation we need is the total return. The total return shows us how much we've made or lost on a percentage basis. So let's type in equal, open paren, then click on our market value, minus our tax basis, close the parentheses, and then divide that by our tax basis. And let's go ahead and drag that down. And with our numbers still selected, let's go up and click on this percent symbol, and that will make things easy on the eyes. Okay, the last column is our type. And what we want to do is type in the category that each stock falls into. For example, is it a tech stock, a retail stock, automotive, communication, healthcare, etc.? Now, in real life, you can obviously go with any classification system that you want. For now, let's pause for a quick side note. In full disclosure, while I was putting this video together, I thought about creating a drop-down list of types using data validation, yet ultimately decided against it for the sake of sheer simplicity and time. But if you are familiar with data validation, by all means, please feel free to use it. Moving on. So in our case, let's go ahead and let's say our stocks fall into these categories, which is either tech, retail, or consumer. And we'll go ahead and type those in. Okay, as a finer point, how about we select all of this data and center everything so it will be easier to read? All right, the next step is to convert this data area into an official Excel table. The reason is we're going to be adding new stocks to our list, and we want our charts to update automatically. To create the table, first select a list, then go up and click on Insert, Table, then click OK. And from this point, it's just a matter of making the table easier to read and disabling some features we may not use. Let's start with fixing the formatting first. So let's cruise over here into the Table Styles area, click the drop arrow, and then in the upper left corner, let's go with this option of None so we can preserve our original formatting. Then we can uncheck this filter button because odds are we won't be filtering anything. All right, so our next step is to build our charts. Let's start off with the column graph. To build the column graph, start by selecting the ticker symbol column, then hold your Control key down and select the market value column. And while both columns are still selected, go up and click where it says Insert, then look for the column graph, and then this 2D option. From there, we can move the chart into the upper portion of our sheet, and then resize things a bit, let's say to around maybe column G. From there, we can also modify the color by clicking on the color change option, and then how about we go with this purple option. Moving on, the next chart we'll make will be the total return chart, and that's where we can see what stocks are making money and which ones aren't. For this, we'll create a 2D bar graph, and the chart is easy to create. It's just slightly annoying to format. Let's start off by selecting our ticker symbols, then hold down our Control key, and then select the total return column. Then go up and click on the Insert tab, look for this bar graph icon, and then go with the 2D column option. From there, let's move the chart over here, and then resize things a bit. Okay. Admittedly, fresh out of the gate, this chart looks a little funky, so let's go ahead and tidy things up a bit. Remember, it's not difficult, just tedious. So how about we tackle the labels first? Hover over your labels, then do a right click on them, and then choose Format Axis. Now from here, you might have to poke around a bit, but what you're looking for is this label option located under the Axis options, specifically by clicking on this bar graph icon. Now, glide down to where it reads Labels, expand things out, then look for Label Position, click the drop arrow, and choose Low. You'll notice the labels have moved to the left-hand side of our chart. Now, as a finer note, you'll notice the labels on our chart aren't quite displayed the way they are on our list, so to fix that, we can check the box where it reads Categories in Reverse Order, and that will rearrange things so everything lines up. Next, let's modify our chart colors by doing a right click on one of the bars, then select Format Data Series. To change the colors, you'll want to click on this paint bucket icon, then glide down to where it reads Color, click the drop down arrow, and then you can go with the shade you want. In our case, let's go with green. Okay, so to show our losses or negative values in a different color than green, you'll want to select the option where it says Invert if negative. And you'll notice Excel will then give us a secondary color picking icon. And now we just need to click the color we want to use. In this case, let's go with red. That's all the formatting we'll do with this chart, so we can go ahead and close out of this formatting pane. All right, so for the last step, how about we remove these additional grid lines from the chart? And we can do that by just clicking on them and then pressing our delete key. So the final chart we need to create is the donut graph. And please bear with me while I make a confession. I really debated on which method to use for building the donut graph because there's a lot of ways to do it. For instance, I thought about using functions like unique and SUMIF to aggregate some data, because if you don't, the chart won't cooperate, but ultimately decided on using a pivot table because overall, it's a pretty easy and direct method to create the graph, plus it plays into the theme of this video, which is simplicity. To create the pivot table, start by clicking in your data. Then, from the Table Design tab, on the left-hand side, click where it says Summarize with Pivot Table. In the dialog box, let's go with Existing Worksheet, and let's put the pivot table somewhere over here out of the way. Next, the fields we want to use are the type and market value. So we can drag the type field down into the rows quadrant, and then drag the market value field into the values quadrant. Once that's complete, we can build our donut graph by clicking on Insert, then over here where it says Charts, and we can choose our donut graph. And since we're here, we might as well relocate the chart into the spot where it's going to live. Okay, the next step is to make the graph look better by formatting it. So in no particular order, how about we start by removing these buttons by clicking on Field Buttons, then selecting Hide All. Next, how about we change the color of the chart by going up here and click on the Design tab. Then over here on the left, click this palette icon, and then go with the color we want. Next up, let's show our percentages. To do that, let's right-click on one of the slices of our donut graph, then hover over Add Data Labels, and then choose Add Data Labels again, which should show us our market values. From there, let's right-click on the market value numbers, and then select Format Data Labels. Then over here on the right, let's make sure to check the percentage box first, then uncheck values, just to make sure Excel doesn't misbehave on us. We can change the font color as well by clicking on the text options, then click the drop arrow next to the paint bucket icon, and we can pick the font color of our choice. That's all the formatting we're going to need to do for the donut graph, so we can go ahead and close this pane. We can also change a few chart titles if we wish to make it something more applicable. And as a finishing touch, we can go up and click on View, then uncheck grid lines, which will give us a nice clean appearance, and perhaps remove the borders of the charts if we wanted to, and we can remove them by clicking on the Format tab, then look for where it says Shape Outline and make our changes there. But for the most part, we are done. All right, so how about we test things out by adding in some new stock positions? Let's say we decided to move into the food sector and bought some shares of this, along with this, along with some of this. Making sure to fill in the relevant details. Let's assign the appropriate stock type as well. And as you can see, as we add the new stocks to the table, the charts will update, which is good. Now, the only real sticking point is our donut graph will not update automatically because it's tied to the pivot table. So to make sure we're up to date, just go up and hover over the donut graph, right-click on it, and then choose Refresh Data, and that will bring you up to date. Okay, and that'll do it. Hopefully you've been able to get some value out of this video, and by chance you don't want to go through the hassle of building this portfolio tracker, you can purchase a copy of the file for practically nothing by using the link below. Feel free to leave your thoughts below. Don't be shy about using the like and share button, and we will see you next time.